everyone. On behalf of CSRE, I would like to thank you for sending your children to Stanford. It's truly an honor and privilege for me to work with and get to know them all. They are amazing young people. You're to be congratulated for instilling in them great values and empathy for others. Before you hear more about the students, I'd like to give you some sense of what we're doing here at CSRE. As you may know, the undergraduate program consists of 5 majors, each directed by a faculty chair: Asian American Studies, Chicano Latino Studies, Comparative Studies, Jewish Studies, and Native American Studies. 3 things are important for you to know. First of all, we're an interdisciplinary program. These students have taken courses in a range of disciplines, including anthropology, English, history, theater arts and performance, political science, sociology, religious studies, to name just a few. And second, and this is very important, CSRE is an entirely volunteer program. We have over 144 affiliated faculty who have volunteered to teach and work in CSRE because they deeply believe in its mission. Third, that mission at its core is for social justice, and with the belief that to do work in social justice requires a deep and broad understanding of the ways race and ethnicity impact our perception of the world and on our actions. We do this because we find in CSRE a real home and a real community. We take the extra time to do so above and beyond our basic departmental duties and obligations. We don't get extra credit, we do get extra gratification. So I'd like to introduce you now to the faculty chairs of our individual majors. May I please have the chairs stand when I call your name. First, Dr. Anthony Antonio, Professor of Education and Chair of the Asian American Studies Department. Dr. Tomas Jimenez, Associate Professor of Sociology and Chair of Chicano Latino Studies. Dr. C. Matt Snip, Professor of Sociology and Chair of Native American Studies. I don't see Charlotte. Is Charlotte not here? Well, I will announce her anyway. Charlotte von Robert is the Professor of Religious Studies, and she's the Chair of Jewish Studies. Thank you. Now let's talk about your students. One of the reasons we are delighted to volunteer for CSRE is the quality and nature of the students we get to work with, and yes, they are good looking. It's a very well-known fact that Stanford students are brilliant, but they're also a bit compulsive. For CSRE students, I would substitute the word committed for compulsive. They care deeply about social justice and about knowing history in its fullest sense, with a broader understanding of the populations of the world that make up the world we live in, and the things that make living together both easier and more difficult. They have an intimate sense of the relation between the individual and the collective, between the local and the global, and I can think of few students better suited to speak to us today about all that than Dahlton Brown. Dahlton, yay? Dahlton is graduating with a degree in Native American Studies. He has dedicated most of his undergraduate career to developing passion and advocacy for these communities. He was the co-chair of the powwow last year. He wrote an honors thesis through the Graduate School of Education, and he will present his findings at NCORE, a national conference on race and ethnicity. So we're grateful to Dahlton also for being a peer advisor in CSRE for these past 4 years. Dahlton, would you like to come up and address us?
Muchuksus Kuchaima Kanyayase Dahlton Brown. Hello, good day. My name is Dahlton Brown. This is my Miwok language. Before I begin today, I'd like to acknowledge that we are currently standing on Miwok Ohlone land. I would like to acknowledge their presence and thank them for being here with us today as we celebrate. I'm ending my undergraduate career today with the Comparative Studies and Race and Ethnicity Department, and I've gone through the entirety of emotions the last few days. Excited, nervous, scared, nervous again, and a little bit of anxious. But as I stand here today looking out at people I call friends, family, I can't help but feel one thing: love. I'm finishing my major in Native American Studies, which seemed like an easy choice to me. I I wanted to learn more about myself and my identity. I wanted to learn about what that meant, who I was, and what it means today. However, not everybody's really able to understand why I chose my major. And I think that's something a lot of the people sitting here with me can relate to today. I once had an economics professor, not from Stanford for the record, ask me, what's the difference between a native studies degree and a pizza? The answer he gave me, a pizza can feed a family of 4. This shocked me. I didn't know how to respond. I promptly ended that conversation and I walked away. But it stuck with me. And it wasn't until recently when somebody gave me a piece of advice that has really helped me make sense of that conversation. But long after that pizza's gone, I'll have my education. I'll have this degree and I'll have the lessons I've learned the last 4 years. And that's much more important than anything I could ever earn anywhere else. Regardless of who you are, or what brought you here today, or your affiliation with CSRE, I can assure you that you are blessed by the presence of some of the most incredible, intelligent, and passionate people I've ever met at Stanford University. When I was asked to speak today for our graduation, I battled a little bit with what I should say, if I was even qualified to say anything at all. And after a few days of kind of wrestling with some ideas, I think I came up with something that all of us here can relate to a little bit. I come from a small town in Northern California that, for lack of a better word, is pretty homogenous. With a very strange conservative background for our town, my own identity was something that I never truly understood growing up. It was something that I battled with, my own identity, and I really wanted to find that when I came to college. And I'm happy to say that I really think I have, and that's in part to the CSRE department. I realize that as somebody who identifies as a mix between Native American and white, that my identity doesn't fit into a single box. But I also have learned that my identity as a large, white-looking person has afforded me great privilege, and that's something that I greatly thank the CSRE department for teaching me that and for making me learn more about myself. Something I really wrestled with trying to come up with words for today is, did that make my words any less valid that I'm speaking now? The answer that I came to was that no, because obviously CSRE has taught me something, and that's to question everything. That's to question the world around me, the way I look at it, and the way that world's looking back at me. The Stanford University Center for Race and Ethnicity, by teaching me to question my own identity, it's not a bad thing. This inquisition into my own identity has made me open my eyes to the world around me, and has helped me make sense of what I see every single day. I chose to major in Native American Studies early in my career here. For that, I'm incredibly fortunate. I know that's not the case for all of us. But because I've been a part of this community since freshman year, when I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed still, I've been able to experience a level of personal growth that I never thought possible. Because of this department, I'm able to look at the world around me in an entirely different way. I honestly believe that is the power of the CSRE department, which is something we have all been blessed to be a part of. On the whole, this group of graduates sitting here with me have been a constant challenge in the most incredible way possible. The people sitting here who've been sweating under the black gowns since this morning are never satisfied with the answers they give us. We, as a department, are continuously questioning the world around us. We need to know more, and we need to try and apply what we know to what we're seeing. When I sat down to write these words, I realized I had to be very precise with my language. And that's only because the people sitting here with me are probably the most inquisitive and the most critical students that the university is graduating today. And that's an amazing thing. And among my fellow graduates today, there are numerous leaders, there are numerous thinkers, and there are numerous revolutionaries. I know that for a fact. I recently heard someone ask Stanford University President John Hennessy this question: what does a Stanford education mean? And I think the answer is sitting directly in front of me. My fellow CSRE graduates have been the backbone of our university this year. They have forced some to listen to our voices and feelings when they would rather just cover their ears and shut their eyes. They stood up for local and global injustices and made sure that the population of Stanford was aware of what is happening both inside and outside of this Stanford bubble. This, in my opinion, is exactly what a Stanford University education should mean. We should use the resources around us to question the status quo. We should use this institution as a springboard for social change. And we should take this piece of paper called a diploma as a symbol of what we have learned and experienced during the last 4 years. Because while yes, the classroom aspect of our time here has been extremely important, as evidenced by the countless reading responses, essays, and discussions, that's not all we have. What I believe is so unique about our education as part of CSRE is that it doesn't end after class gets out. Our education never really slept, even when we should have been. For us, our education took place over lunches, coffees, and impromptu meetings in community centers or dorm computer clusters. But we never stopped learning. This is what our education means. And while I cannot say this is the case for every single department out there, I do know that it holds true for us. As we cross the stage today, shake hands, and receive our degrees from Stanford University, I know that our education is still not done. To my fellow graduates, I want to thank you all. You've made me a better person over the last 4 years. I've learned how to care for someone and their identity like I never thought possible, and I credit that to you all. To the faculty and the staff who have pushed us all, both personally and academically, thank you for bringing out the best in us. Well, yes, you have caused us a little bit of stress. It's for good reason. You saw in us something worth it investing in. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here today. Because of your dedication, we're able to go forth after today and apply what we have learned in the best ways possible. To the families here, thank you for loving us and for supporting us. Whether that meant listening to our meltdowns or hearing our struggles because we're so frustrated over an assignment, we're all incredibly grateful. Your presence here today gives me, and hopefully all the other graduates, a sense of love and affection like no other. And for those loved ones who were unable to be here today, you're not forgotten. We love you and appreciate every single one. Before I end, I want to give a special thank you and recognition to Jaime Barajas and the CSRE peer mentors. You're all beautiful, incredible people, and have really made my time at Stanford quite an experience. Thank you all for listening to me today. It's been an honor and a privilege. Okasi. Thank you.
Okay, at this point in the program, I want to pause and give special recognition to a dear friend and colleague who will be retiring from full-time duty.